Welcome back to Top 10 Nerd. Nightcrawler is perhaps one of the most unique looking X-Men, although given we actually have at least 3 blue characters, maybe he isn't. The character debuted in Giant Size X-Men #1 in May of 1975, and has since been a regular cast member of the X-Men. And of course, like any hero, he's gone through many iterations over the years. And we're counting down our top 10. Starting with number 10, Marvel Zombies. In another alternate reality, there is an Earth containing zombified versions of the Marvel characters. Beginning after Sentry, a superhero from another dimension crash lands and infects several heroes. Known as the Hunger, it spreads by coming into contact with the victim's blood, much like a traditional zombie. However, the zombie heroes still retain their intelligence, powers, and their personality. And I'll say this now, Nightcrawler doesn't really appear that much in the one-shot comic Marvel Zombies Dead Days, but it is worth noting that he is one of the last superheroes to be bitten, and anytime you're in the last group of survivors in a zombie apocalypse, you gotta call that a win. So, hats off to this iteration of Nightcrawler. You win the apocalypse. Number 9, X2, the movie. In the second live-action adaptation of X-Men, X2, X-Men United, Nightcrawler is initially a brainwashed ex-circus performer named Kurt Wagner, who makes an attempt on the President of the United States' life. He later is restored to his established friendly personality by the X-Men. This version of the character possesses a German accent and was portrayed by actor Alan Cumming, who, incidentally, speaks fluent German. Much like his comic counterpart, he's able to teleport himself and others from one location to another. The film version of this character also appears in a tie-in comic which further details his history in the circus and how he revealed his power to save his love interest, Amanda Sefton. However, after learning that Amanda is involved with another circus performer, he goes to a church to mourn his unrequited love. However, Amanda appears to confess her love and suggests they elope. Unbeknownst to him, this version of Amanda is an illusion and guides him to a Weapon X facility. And as we should all know by now, nothing good can happen there. Number 8. What if the all-new, all-different X-Men had never existed? In What If the All-New, All-Different X-Men Had Never Existed, Nightcrawler willingly joins Eric the Red, who misleads Nightcrawler into believing that the X-Men sought to enslave both mutants and humankind. In a battle against them alongside Eric the Red, Nightcrawler is captured but uses his teleportation powers to escape. He swears revenge on the X-Men and disappears. However, after eavesdropping on the X-Men, he learns that they fight for freedom and peace, and chooses to sacrifice himself to destroy the Phoenix Force that was hiding in Earth's sun. Cyclops attempts to reason with him, believing he should be sacrificed instead, but Nightcrawler claims that the sacrifice of Cyclops could potentially destroy the X-Men, while one who has done wrong like he has would not be missed. Nightcrawler succeeds in his sacrifice, and demonstrates to everyone, as Empress put it, no one is beyond redemption. Number 7. What if Mystique raised Nightcrawler? In this version, Nightcrawler, whose name is now Michael, is raised in seclusion by his mother Mystique. However, after Mystique takes in Rogue, she begins to lose her grip of control over Michael. Rogue makes an attempt to liberate Michael from the attic he was kept in. However, they are stopped by the Brotherhood before getting very far. The Brotherhood attempt to kill Nightcrawler and disable Rogue, but at the last moment, Rogue kisses Michael, and as any Rogue fan should know, she absorbs the power of Michael before he tragically perishes in the flames. Rogue's prolonged exposure to Michael result in her permanently acquiring his powers and altering her appearance to more closely resemble his. The comic ends with a heartbroken Mystique, now forced to live knowing she's lost both of her children. I guess that's one more for the Nightcrawler died counter. Number 6. Ultimate Marvel Nightcrawler. The Ultimate Marvel Universe version of Nightcrawler starts off very young, and as a result, has a tendency to act out irrationally. The character is initially presented as an upbeat person, one who makes friends easily, most notably with fellow X-Men Angel and Dazzler. However, when Dazzler slips into a coma and Angel leaves the X-Men, Nightcrawler's mental state begins to deteriorate. This results in some very poor decision making where Kurt allows his obsessive feelings for Dazzler to rule over him. He teleports her to a cave away from the other X-Men and lies to her about there being an attack on the X-Men. Tragically, but justifiably, this results in Nightcrawler fighting against the X-Men and being forced into a vegetative state by Professor X. Although, perhaps more tragically, this version of Nightcrawler perishes during the events of Ultimatum. Man, he is dying a lot on this list. Still, a flawed character makes for an entertaining story. Let's move on. Number 5. X-Men Age of Apocalypse. Now, this version of Nightcrawler is quite unlike the one we're used to. Instead of the friendly blue imp from the main Marvel universe, we have an angry, vengeful, sword-wielding warrior. Known as Kurt Darkholme instead of Kurt Wagner, this iteration of the character has a much stronger bond with his mother, Mystique, and as such, has taken on her last name. Heck, he even calls her mom. In addition, While Nightcrawler is normally devoutly religious, Kurt Darkholme despises churches after a traumatic experience in his youth. All these factors contribute to a much more hostile version of the character, one who willingly kills his enemies, some in the most cruel and ridiculous ways possible. Like, he kills Blob by teleporting a shark into his stomach and lets it eat him from the inside out. Heck, he kills Iceman by throwing him into a factory fire. This Kurt is no slouch when it comes to murder. And if it brings anybody any peace, during the Extermination crossover, the Age of Apocalypse reality is destroyed, which, again, seems to have killed Nightcrawler, so at least we have that going for us. Number 4, BAMF. These guys are precious. So, BAMF is an adorable little creature who is a perfectly super deformed version of Nightcrawler. Standing at only 2 feet tall, he's a goofy little character who initially only existed in a bedtime story told by Kitty Pryde. But after an accidental interdimensional trip, Nightcrawler meets BAMF and even other female incarnations of BAMF. They're cute, they're fun, and they look like Kurt. What more could you ask for? I mean, I guess not dying with this list, but hey, small victories. Number 3, Universe X, BELASCO. This version of Nightcrawler came to be after being approached by Mephisto. Nightcrawler had recently become human, which led him to being killed by a group of superhumans who were influenced by a substance known as the Terrigen Mist. Mephisto took advantage of this and convinced Nightcrawler that the dark thoughts in his heart were right all along. This results in being sent through time and brainwashed by Mephisto. Nightcrawler comes to believe that he is the villain BELASCO, and for a time, allies himself with the villains. However, after having his mind restored to him by Mar-Vell, he returns to being a hero, now as the new swashbuckler in Hell's Kitchen. Number 2, X-Men Exiles, Nocturne. While technically not Kurt himself, this version of Nightcrawler is actually his daughter from another universe, going by the name Nocturne. Like her father, she possesses blue fur, 3 fingers, 2 toes, and a tail. She also possesses the power to possess another person's body for up to 12 hours, which has the awesome added effect of leaving the victim in a coma for a day. In a series of events that lead to Nocturne traveling to the main Marvel universe, Nocturne meets the main universe version of her father, whom she accidentally calls Dad. Although, come on, is it that hard to put 2 and 2 together there? She can use her toes. Her demeanor isn't unlike her father's, so this iteration of the character isn't entirely original. But hey, don't fix what isn't broken, right? Number 1, Secret Wars Nightcrawler / BAMFY. This one is probably the most radically different version of Nightcrawler on this list. I mean, he's a freaking dragon. So after failing to save Ilyana Rasputin from Nastir, Nightcrawler, Boomer, and Domino teleported into the demon domain. Darkchild and Nastir appeared and captured Nightcrawler and left Boomer mortally wounded. Nightcrawler was imprisoned, where Darkchild tortured his soul, corrupted it, and turned him into a massive dragon, nicknamed the BAMF Dragon. Later, Jean Grey tried to connect with Nightcrawler, but Madeline stepped in and put him under her own control, claiming that Kurt's mind had been destroyed when Darkchild turned him into a massive dragon. And honestly, that is just a horrifying way to go. Never mind the body horror that must come with turning into a dragon, but to have your mind and soul tortured and destroyed to do it. Ugh, poor Kurt. And those are our top 10 alternate versions of Nightcrawler. Do you have a preferred alternative that didn't make this list? Or maybe another character you'd like to see some alternatives for? Leave a comment and let me know, and I'll see you next time.